coming to you live for the Build Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you're on the free Odyssey app. Good Monday morning. If we on Friday said the worst case scenario for the New York Giants would be that they would blow another big lead and Jackson Dart got hurt, that would have been the truth. I think the only thing worse than what happened on Sunday is if Jackson Dart had been out for the year with some sort of knee injury. But him getting hurt and the Giants blowing another lead is worst case scenario for Brian Daboll and the Giants. I don't know if Brian Daboll gets fired today. I don't know if he gets fired at the end of the season. But if there wasn't a nail in the coffin before yesterday, it certainly happened yesterday. And the Jets won. They beat the Browns in a game that was very, very interesting when you have less than 100 yards passing, actually 50-something yards passing, and still somehow put up enough points to beat the Cleveland Browns in 27, couple special teams touchdowns with Nick Mangold's family there. It was a nice day for the Jets at home. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. I'm doing well. And yesterday, watching this Giant collapse again in the fourth quarter was just mind-numbing. I mean, this is a inherent problem that has to be dealt with, and it's going to be dealt with, I would say, it's going to be definitely dealt with by the end of the season. There's no question about that. I mean, the question is whether or not anything's going to be done during the season. I don't think that there will be, and I think that there's still the cover of, Jackson Dart still here, and he's still the man. And he was playing a really good game yesterday in inclement weather. It looked like it was one of those old throwback games with the throwback Giant uniforms against the Bears in the snow. It's actually a great watch until the fourth quarter, of course, and until obviously that fumble and that concussion for Jackson Dart. Because, and by the way, if I am Brian Daboll, this is what I would do this week if I'm still here and I still have a job. I would definitely play Jameis Winston. I wouldn't put Russell Wilson out there. It's not Russell's fault. It's just the situation that the Giants find themselves in now. There is nothing that Russell Wilson is going to do to excite the fan base. And the fan base, believe you me, wants blood. They want blood more now than ever before. I mean, I thought last week was going to be the week, maybe that would be the week something would go down. But now, after this and yet another fourth quarter collapse and watching, Caleb Williams just run all over the place. So there are times that kid looks like he has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, the first half, Jackson Dart looked like he was a 10-year veteran, and Caleb Williams had never played football before. And then, of course, the Giants' defense, just for whatever reason, decides to that touchdown run that he had, it was almost as if they thought that if they touched Caleb Williams, they were going to get some sort of disease. I mean, they were repelling off of him. What? They didn't even get near him.
What's amazing about that is that when Caleb Williams comes out on that bootleg, he's got a guy wide open. You could just throw it to him. And then if you look at the play again, there's another guy coming across the backside of the formation and the play, and he's wide open and would have been a walk-in touchdown. But that kid decides to run it in for a touchdown, so good for him, kind of like Davis Mills did against the Jaguars late in their game down in Houston. But, Jackson Dart is the better player. There's no question about it. He's so far advanced from a lot of these other players, these other young quarterbacks that other teams are hoping the light's going to go on. But, it's really unfortunate that he ends up putting himself in a bad situation again.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about it incessantly over and over and over and over again. And, you go back to the interviews with John Gruden prior to the draft.
Yeah, he's like, it's reckless, man.
Yes.
He's like, you're putting yourself in a bad spot. It's stupid and it's reckless.
Exactly. So he saw it in college. We all saw it when he first took over here. And we all actually saw some of that in preseason too. But that's something that's got to get knocked out of him. Like even Josh Allen, if you want to call him Josh Allen light at the moment, because he looks like that, and he's looking for contact. And maybe the contact is what gets him into the game. Maybe that's what he needs. Kind of like Brian Daboll told us about Josh Allen when he was coaching Josh Allen. Call a run, let me get hit, let me get into this game. But, what was maddening yesterday is there actually was a giant pass rush.
Yeah, all the pressures were...
They got so close to him and just could not bring him down. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau could have had his best game yesterday, and it could have been like 3 different times he had him for sacks.
And he never finished. Yeah, never finished. It was somehow just Caleb Williams squirted away one way or another. I mean, it was just, and yeah, you're right. I mean, that is the most active and quick that Kayvon Thibodeau has looked the entire season, but he just could not finish the job.
It reminds me of Alexei Lafreniere for the Rangers. Just can't finish. Just has no idea. I mean, looks great skating, but just somehow
both high draft picks.
Both high draft picks.
Right.
Yeah,
Shows
exactly.
talent, can't finish.
Yeah, I had to weave some hockey in there.
Of course,
because I'm still annoyed about Saturday night. And
that was great, man. I tell you, we had this
grandson now is all of a sudden, chirping me after games.
Oh, that was a lot of fun watching that game. I got.
Hey, how's the score? And I just said, look, I hope you enjoyed the cotton candy between periods, kid. Just relax. We got a long way to go.
Right.
Yet.
In 3 years, you can have a beer to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. But this is I mean, so as bad as it is for the Giants, I have to say, watching the Jet game, while it was just brutal to watch from an offensive standpoint, and Breece Hall obviously had a really good, solid game for them, and this is the ups and downs of Justin Fields. It's one time it's up here, the next time it's down here. But I have to say, they traded away 2 of their players, and all of a sudden, guys around there started playing a little bit harder. Guys on defense started playing a little bit harder. Now they're playing against Dylan Gabriel, who right now is completely in and over his head. I mean, his arm looks like a wet noodle.
Yeah, I mean, even that a touchdown pass he threw was it looked like a duck, but somehow made it in there into the end zone. I mean, it looked like it took like 45 seconds in the air to make it into the end zone.
I don't
looks
know.
terrible.
I mean, I guess he's a nice kid, and I guess he can call the offense.
He looks
and
like
get it
Tua in slow motion.
He does. He really does.
It looks like if you slowed down the game film on Tua by like 1.5 seconds, that's what Dylan Gabriel looks
All right,
like.
so I also thought about this yesterday when I'm watching this collapse in Houston. And I'm like, okay, and this would make sense, and tell me if you think this makes sense. Let's say the Jaguars do not make the playoffs this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, they bring in Liam Cohen. He's going to be, doing what Dave Canales is doing down there in Carolina. He comes from Tampa Bay, where he was the guy that was responsible for the rebirth of Baker Mayfield from a coaching standpoint. So they all thought down in Jacksonville, let's bring in Liam Cohen and let's see if he can unlock one Trevor Lawrence. And, Trevor is like an enigma. He's like 6'5". We've all met him. We all saw him. We saw how big he was, how athletic he is, how great he can throw the football. If they don't make the playoffs, do you think that your Vikings would try to make a trade for him? And would you endorse that as a Vikings fan?
Well, why do you say the Vikings?
So there are a couple places right now where if I were a quarterback, I would want to go to get my ass straightened out. And one of those places is Minnesota. The other place is San Francisco. And you can see what Mac Jones is doing, even though they lost yesterday, but it's more San Francisco's defense that's the problem than the offense right now. But I'm just thinking, like, sooner or later, like Jacksonville has had, 3 coaches, and there's a lot of change around Trevor. Some of it's not his fault, but like I always tell you, Jackson Dart is here playing with backup players, and he's making them better. And finally, Darius Slayton made some plays for him yesterday.
Yeah, one-handed catch was impressive.
It was great, and he actually had an impact on the game. But when you think about the group of players that he's playing with right now, I don't know if there's and the word is not worse, but I would say the least productive group of players that a quarterback has around him at the skill position. Fair to say?
Absolutely fair to say.
So that's the only reason I'm thinking, like, they spent all this money, bring all these players in down there in Jacksonville, and they're just not getting it done. And he's not, like, he should be at the top of every statistical category. That's his physical prowess and how good he is. I would think that Kevin O'Connell would love to get his hands on him.
I think they got to see the rest of the season what J.J. McCarthy is. And,
you mean 9?
9. It was either J.J. or 9. I mean, I don't believe in him. I never have. But he still hasn't played enough games for me to sit here in November and pull the plug in his first full season. So, but if he crashes out this year, it is awful. And then what you say about the Jaguars and them not making the playoffs and finally saying enough is enough, sure. I mean, I would, if I were Kevin O'Connell, I'd want him. If I were Trevor Lawrence, I'd want to go there.
The other quarterback is Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he should.
Now, he's on IR, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, how many years are they going to go through this with him? I mean, and I'm not saying that he's the answer, because to me, anybody that's under 6 foot, they could play, but they're not. They're just not going to get it done. I mean, overall, it's a big man's league, and these small quarterbacks, the Bryce Youngs of the world, the Kyler Murrays, Dylan Gabriel yesterday, it just doesn't work anymore.
So I'm going to give you something here. I'm going to give you a stat pack thing yesterday.
Oh, I want to hear it.
It's kind of like a stat pack, but not really a stat pack. So one of the things I don't tend to love, especially in a year like this where you have a lot of comebacks, is this win probability stat. But this just gives you a little bit of a peek into the improbability of the Giants blowing games this year. All right?
Yep.
So against the Cowboys, Broncos, and Bears, the Giants had a 92.3% chance to win probability, 99.3 win probability, and 96.9 win probability. Lost all of them. The odds of that happening, 1 in 60,000.
Yeah, well,
that to me is just pure insanity. 1 in 60,000.
And what's the odds of people losing jobs over there?
Well, I mean, it's minus the 60,000 probably, and I don't know. I mean, here I don't necessarily. I'm with you, because Jackson Dart's been like this his entire career, and some guys you tell them you gotta slide, you can't do this, you can't be reckless, and it's just not going to get through. But the problem is that Brian Daboll at this point has lost the benefit of the doubt with everything. So even if it's not totally his fault, which it isn't, that Jackson Dart got a concussion, it's now you blew another game and the quarterback's hurt.
I felt like Oz the mentalist on that last series that the Giants had the ball. I said somehow it's going to get to 3rd and 6 to 8, and it ended up at 3rd and 7. And they ended up, obviously not completing a pass, not creating a first down, and then had to give the ball back to Chicago. And then it was just a matter of time before Chicago was going to go right down the field and score.
Yep.
It's amazing that the Giants are 1-2 in games in which they've had a 10 or more point lead with under 4 minutes to play in the game.
In the game, yes, in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
So the rest of the NFL in those circumstances this year, 87-1. And the Giants are 1-2 in that situation.
Yeah, I mean it's
they're 1-2. The rest of the NFL is 87-1. I think probably the other one that is when the Bills mounted that comeback on the Ravens, maybe.
Yeah, I got to talk about the Bills later too. But what an awful loss that was for them. I mean, my goodness. But anyway, so I mean, if Jackson Dart can't play and they are hosting the Green Bay Packers,
start Jameis.
You start Jameis, sure. But, I mean, we're talking about a scenario with a 2-7 football team with their third-string quarterback playing in front of what could be 30,000 Packer fans.
Yes.
And Brian Daboll's going to still be standing on the sidelines?
That's the other thing. That's the other situation that you have to really, really look at. Unfortunately, what you're doing – and I know that it's actually 2-8 football team.
2-8, sorry, 2-8.
Sometimes you let a guy go so he doesn't have to stand there and endure the indignity of it all. Like Brian Daboll, I think all of us really like Brian. I think we all think he can coach. I mean, it's not that he can't coach, and that a certain amount of things have happened to him, especially this year, that are just inexcusable from a coaching standpoint. And he knows that. I mean, he wasn't born yesterday. He's not an idiot. He knows exactly what's going on. And if you watch his post-game press conference yesterday, that's the first time that I really saw or felt a really kind of defeated guy. You know what I mean? Because that head coach, Aaron Glenn, they lose. He's got to stand up there and he's fighting with the media.
Yeah.
And he's making all these declarative statements, which is great because he's fighting back. I felt like yesterday post-game was the first time that I heard a realization of what is about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and how could you not at this point? I mean, what makes it even worse is the entire offseason going into this year, we said the way that Brian Daboll saves his job is if Jackson Dart is a star. We see him play, and then there's no way you could break the two of them up. So what happens? Jackson Dart starts. He looks like a star. Things are working out, but you're still losing games. You're blowing games in catastrophic fashion, and now he's got a concussion. So, I mean, it's over.
What's interesting to me is that there have been times where you and I have come in here, and fan bases have, and I'm guilty of this too with the New York Rangers. But fan bases call in and say, all I want is a competitive game. Just give me a competitive game. I don't want to lose a game 27-3 and not have a chance at a fourth quarter. All right, I will say that the teams are competitive. They are competitive. And the Giants, for the most part, are competitive for 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden their defenses collapse. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So this is like the opposite of that. These are crushing defeats because of the way that they're happening, as opposed to those blowout losses where fans really get pissed off about lack of effort, guys not making plays, guys not sticking their heads in there and really, going after it and showing like that intensity. Like Kayvon Thibodeau had intensity yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He had it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they weren't competing, but I'll tell you one thing. The moment that fumble happens, the moment that Jackson Dart is walking into the locker room, is the moment that the heart and soul of the New York Giants just left the building or left the field, and Russell Wilson was unable to capture it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants should be 5-5, and that's not some crazy statement. This team should have beaten the Cowboys. They should have beaten the Broncos. They should have won yesterday. They should be 5-5, not 2-8. Instead, they're 2-8, and Jackson Dart had to leave with a concussion, which is almost the worst case scenario. I mean, I don't know if firing a coach at this point in the season is going to work or achieve anything outside.
You want to let him stand on the sideline against Green Bay?
I just brought that up.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason why I think you just kind of, for lack of a better term, put him out of his misery. I mean,
yeah, we've seen them do that before, and we saw we've seen both teams do this, and we've seen other teams around the league do this.
I mean, there's going to be more planes. There's going to be 1,000 cheeseheads. Jackson's not going to be playing. Most likely, we'll see. Hopefully, he can get back in there sooner than later. But yeah, it's this is certainly rock bottom now.
But are you with me? If Jackson cannot play.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, you can't put Russell Wilson out there. Whatever Giants fans will be there, you cannot give them Russell Wilson.
And I would just say, like, for Russell internally, just for him, that would be a tough pill to swallow. It would be, and he probably would go back to the initial conversations that he had with Joe Shane and Brian Daboll before they even drafted Jackson Dart and they brought him in. But none of that matters anymore. The season is basically off the rails now. There's 7 games to go, and this is going to be. And I'm telling you, I've been through this in 1995. I've been through this. I know what this is like. It is ugly. And I think the Giant fan would appreciate to see Jameis just to see what it looks like. But I know one thing that they're not going to want to see Russell. And I would just advise Russell, just like whatever the coach wants. You do. Don't worry about it. You're not going to be here next year. It's over. Just go about your business. Be professional and try to swallow a little bit of pride, because that's what's going to happen here.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.